Nos han engañado. Ahora vuelve a contar y pone media hora, ¿sabes? Ahí está.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Star Citizen Live. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee, and Star Citizen Live is where we take an hour out of the end of our week and we chat with our CIG developers and staff, talking about the folks and the way that we make our video games each and every week. On today's show, we have members from the vehicle feature team, Richard Towler and Yogi Cladon, to discuss a follow-up to their recent CitizenCon presentation. So without further ado, we're just going to jump right into it this week. Rich, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm great, thanks. It's great to be here. It's great set. It's my first time on here, so...
It's your first time with the new talk show setup, right?
It's great.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yogi, you're joining us from Frankfurt. Say hi.
Well, from my work office, yes. Practically from Frankfurt. Not quite Frankfurt, but yes. Hi.
Is it as cool as my spaceship?
No, I don't think so. All I have is like this little picture here behind me. Other than this, nothing spacey here.
But you do have the Pico Yoda. Show me the Pico Yoda real quick.
Oh, Pico Yoda. Well, I've got
showing this.
Pico. So there's Pico, right?
Uh-huh.
And there's Yoda, and they're good friends, and they're swapping like clothes and all that. So, yeah.
All right. So Yogi was showing that off before we started the show. So let's jump into it. We are at CitizenCon this year. We did our kind of our typical vehicle feature experience segment where we talk about the evolution, the continuing evolution of our flight combat, and this year we announced master modes, which was a pretty dramatic change to the.
Me están diciendo de que este es equipo del Vehicle Experience Team, ¿vale? Y nos van a hablar del tema de los Master Modes que va a suponer un cambio drástico a la forma de entender el vuelo en Star Citizen.
Who wants to take it?
I'll take it.
Okay.
So, Master Modes is basically our way of fixing the combat in the game, but also allowing the ship experience and the ship roles to kind of fulfill themselves. So early on in the combat, we tried several things which the community knows about. We tried to patch on things to help combat, to help fix it, and none of them really worked. So we looked at what's the fundamental problem with the kind of combat and the ship geometry that we have in the game right now, and the common denominator was speed. But we didn't want to come up with a way which was, right, let's just blanket cap the speed, because if you go too fast, it breaks the game.
Hemos intentado varias soluciones para resolver el problema del combate. La intención de los Master Modes es tratar que todos los roles puedan cumplir su papel a la hora del combate. Y llegamos a la conclusión de que el problema era la velocidad y teníamos que limitar la velocidad a la hora de combatir.
You're saying high speed.
Yes, high speed.
Too much speed.
Yes.
Because I think from a layman's perspective, from an outsider's perspective, for those of us who watch racing and watch combat movies like Top Gun and everything, more speed seems to be a good thing. It seems to be the thing that makes stuff exciting, makes stuff visceral. Everybody likes bobbing and weaving through canyons as fast as possible. But you're saying too much speed actually hurts the combat experience.
Yes, yeah. So if you're traveling very quickly, the distances you cover in that amount of time become really large. So if you're having a dogfight with someone and you're flying at 1,000 meters per second, within a very short amount of time, you could be 3 or 4 kilometers away from your target if you've turned around, and then you're flying back towards each other, and then you basically repeat the action and you just end up firing at the nose of your opponent. And that's not really fun, because you don't get, it makes it really hard to balance. It makes it really hard for the weapons to make a difference, the different types of weapons we have in the game. So the goal for this was to bring the combat closer and to make it much more about kind of outmaneuvering your opponent. So if you can get the edge on your opponent and you're trying to do this and that, move around each other, there's going to be key moments in this where you get an advantage and you can use the distinct weapons you've chosen, your special loadout you've chosen, and those things will be an advantage, but also be disadvantages too. But we want it to be about those moments where you really engage in combat and it becomes about outmaneuvering your opponent rather than this kind of slingshot kind of.
Claro, está diciendo de que a la hora de las altas velocidades, cuando vas a 1000 metros por segundo, fácilmente te desplazas 3 o 4 kilómetros de tu objetivo por distancia, por las velocidades, y que lo interesante es poder tener lo que es un engage, entablar el combate de tal manera de que puedas sobrepasar a la habilidad de tu oponente por la buena maniobra que hagas, que aparte de configurar las armas y que todo tenga ventajas y desventajas dependiendo del arma que lleves, tenga pros y contras, quieren buscar precisamente pues ese tipo de dogfight en el que pues la maniobra importa y no sea pues esa pelea de idas y venidas que hay ahora, ¿no?
This one allows you to use your quantum mode and it allows you to unlock the high velocities, but it makes your ship very, very vulnerable in terms of like there won't be shields or weapons working during the time. And basically that is the idea to what Rich just alluded. Like we're separating these two gameplay systems apart from each other. So you can either choose to be like high performant and dangerous, or you can be fast, right? And travel and navigate around the verse, but you can't do it both at the same time.
So that's where we are currently right now in the Squadron 42 branch. But like you mentioned before, that we've known about this issue for a while. We identified this issue, a while back. Folks who have been watching our broadcasts and seeing you on shows over the years are very familiar with hearing this refrain that we got to fix speed. What are some of the things that we tried before this that didn't work?
¿Qué cosas hemos intentado antes de llegar a la conclusión de que había que limitar las velocidades a la hora de combatir?
We tried like nerfing things based upon the speed of the ship. So we tried some stuff with shields, I think, at the time, and just trying to make the tuning work as well. It's like we looked at what we needed to get from the ships as well, and we just couldn't. Like nothing really felt right in what we were trying to do. It just felt like we were solving one problem over here, but it was creating another problem over here, and that's the real difficulty with this problem was. We had to come up with something what, I'm not going to say it solved everything, but it solved the majority of the issues without really causing another problem, which was the kind of loop we got into before with changing the way the shields work and the weapons and stuff. We just, we were always creating another problem with what we were trying to solve. And that's something we really, we definitely think we've avoided with, the master modes.
I saw a comment on Reddit just a day or two ago about somebody was saying that master modes aren't even in Squadron 42 yet. They're not actively in testing. They are in Squadron 42. They are actively in testing. They are working now.
Yes. And we've been testing this for months now. So it's been actively in the game. We've been play testing ourselves on our own team, but we've also been testing with we've also been put out to the general studio as well. So we've definitely been in a really good feedback loop and.
Están comentando de que antes de esto probaron el tema de reducir la calidad de los escudos o de reducir la cantidad de escudos que tenías o retocar el tema de los escudos a la hora de ir rápido y tal, pero que realmente eso creaba otros problemas, que realmente las soluciones que encontraban pues generaban más problemas que soluciones en contra, ¿no? Y al final pues llegaron a la conclusión de que esta era la manera, aparte de reducir las velocidades, ¿no? De separar lo que es el modo viaje, el moverte rápido de lo que es tener rendimiento en la nave. Y entonces están diciendo de que además, Descolando pregunta, ¿pero esto ya está en Escuadrón 42 o está ya probándose o todavía no está implementado o cómo está? Y dice, llevamos varios meses probando esto y la verdad es que en los estudios y la verdad que el feedback está siendo realmente bueno.
Problem. If we limit speed, we've got this problem. What's the overarching solution to this?
So you said a year and a half ago. Was this a eureka-like moment? Is this one of those things where somebody was just in a meeting and they're like, holy crap, I got it? Or was this a contested issue? Was everybody on board at first, or how did this come about? Walk me through the history of this. What was this like when this was coming up?
It was interesting because we were never going to be able to stop the high speeds in the game. So we knew we had that problem. And I would say it was a sort of a eureka moment, but also we faced some challenges trying to get this through as well. So it's kind of like, yes, we've got a really cool idea, but we've got these problems to solve. So,
what was the problem? I mean, well, you had a problem getting master modes into the game approved? Is that what you're saying? Or?
yeah, it was more like just because it's such a major change to the game, we had to convince people it wasn't going to break racing, it wasn't going to break man, it wasn't going to break all the other systems we have in the game because it's so fundamental to the way ships work. Because because we're literally saying we've got a combat mode.
Están diciendo, a la hora del tema de los Master Modes, ¿cómo llegasteis ahí o cómo fue el proceso? ¿Estaba todo el mundo de acuerdo con esto o tal? Y dice que realmente tuvieron problemas para convencer a la gente de que esto no iba a romper el rally, no iba a romper todos los sistemas que estaban relacionados con el juego, la forma en la que estaba conceptualizado el juego, que no lo iba a romper.
This is going to be the best solution for everyone for the game moving forward.
And I have to imagine a part of the reason why it's not immediately into the persistent universe, because it has to go through all this testing with all these other gameplay features you're talking about.
Yeah, so it's quite a challenging feature to develop because one, it's going to squadron first, so it's a single player focus first on in terms of getting this through. But we've also had to develop, but also to move it to the PU, it needs to be fully developed for the multiplayer, and also due to the and also due to the resources, we have to, we are dependent on the dam streams as well, and because of the squadron focus, the dam streams have been prioritized, and it's where this fits within that as well.
What's the testing been like, Yogi?
Testing, well, so as Rich said, there was like no eureka moment, right? Like usually when we develop like stuff like that, we're going step by step in our iterative processes. It was easy to identify that slow speed combat works a lot better simply by limiting the velocities ourselves, right? Like suddenly like the geometry and so on looked a lot better. So when you say testing, it actually covers quite a lot of time from like checking what do we do with the velocities, how do we actually limit the velocities when you go above boost and so on, right? Because what never felt good was, for example, just boosting to your maximum SEM velocity and then being stuck there, being stuck in that maximum velocity in all directions was one of the problems why combat felt stale, right? Because you couldn't just like it doesn't allow you any interesting tactics. So and so we slowly went and like adding stuff like the post boost or the above SEM boost boundaries and all that, making sure that the boost is applied in a non-spheric way, but it's actually more egg-shaped. So you basically when you boost backwards, you burn a lot more energy than you go forward, which just forces you to go to your target and turn around and all these things like.
Está comentando una cosa interesante de que dice cómo han ido las pruebas de los Master Mouse y tal. Y dice, a la hora de desarrollar esto, nos dimos cuenta de que limitar simplemente las velocidades seguras de combate y luego utilizar el boost y no tener más posibilidades, lo hacía poco interesante. Entonces necesitábamos como hacer un post boost, que le llaman, que era pues una forma de poder superar lo que es la velocidad máxima que pueden alcanzar las naves, pero haciendo que lo que es la nave, por ejemplo, si tú utilizas los retropropulsores, que consuma mucha más energía que si utilizas los impulsores principales, que de alguna manera te obliga a lo que es sortear al enemigo hacia adelante, que en lugar de simplemente ir para atrás y ya está, ¿no?
We knew we were on the right track when at some point we were like it was like a couple of months ago, we were like just fighting with master modes around, and one of the PT guys was critical about one specific aspect. It wasn't really important, right? And then I was a little bit insecure, just asked, but do you like the master mode system in general? And they were like, oh yes, of course we like it, yeah, right? So this gives us like enough confidence to know that we're on the right track, and like the process itself with the testing works, right? We just like slowly go step by step to the solution that we would like to see.
So that's some background. That's some how we got here. Let's just dive into some of the specifics about stuff. Since the presentation, folks have had a lot of questions. We've seen tons of questions in Spectrum and those YouTube videos and the Twitch streams that Yogi was just talking about. We've seen this come up in conversations and stuff. So one of the big ones that I've seen is the switch between the modes themselves. Because it can't be too easy. If you switch back and forth on a dime, there's no reason to have the two. Part of what makes the two dynamic is this transition between them. So let's talk about that transition. How long are we talking? Is the length of time dependent on different ships or different?
A la hora de cambiar entre los diferentes modos, entre modo viaje y modo estándar, ¿cuánto tiempo se va a cambiar? O sea, ¿cuánto tiempo se va a tardar en cambiar los modos? ¿En qué depende de naves? ¿Cómo va?
Yeah, so there is a time difference. It is ship based, but it can also be component based as well because you've got the shields going up and down. Because we didn't want you to be able to press a button, doom, gone, and you're just in different modes. Because we want the player to make that key choice when they're in the when they're in the master mode for combat, for example. We want them to be in that combat mode because they want to do that thing that they've chosen to do. But there's consequence to that, and it's the same with flying navigation mode without the shields. There's a choice to that you can go fast and you're just doing your A to B stuff for Star Citizen and you don't want to get involved in combat. So there is that consequence of you can't just press a button in its instant. So if you go from combat mode, for example, to navigation mode, your shields will have to go down, and then to go back, your shields will have to go back up. But it's not an instant thing, and it will vary depending on it will vary depending on the components as well.
That adds so much tactical choice, though. It's now during fights or during attacks, you're being raided by a pirate or whatever. It's not just flip a mode and get out. You have to determine when the best time is going to be. You have to know your ship and precisely how long it's going to take your ship versus their ship to make these switches, and then it opens up the door for tons of customization with the ships between the different components and the tunings and such, so that we like there are many like it, but this one is mine. It's going to allow people to fine tune their ships and have a reason to do so.
Yes, yeah. I mean, and that's the great thing about this is it gives the player choice. And that's something we're...
Están comentando algo interesante, es que dicen que los tiempos de cambio de modo dependerán tanto de la nave como de los componentes que tengas en la nave. Entonces, comenta Discolando, pero esto es una cosa muy interesante porque no solo es en plan... la idea es que tengas que escoger realmente el momento, ¿no? Que no es algo que vaya a ser instantáneo. Tienes que esperar a que los escudos desaparezcan o que los escudos vuelvan a reaparecer para cambiar de modo. Y esto es dependiente del componente de la nave, como comentan. Y además que esto, dice Discolando, pues claro, esto llevará a lo que son los jugadores a realmente... personalizar mucho sus naves y conocer no solo sus naves, sino tener en cuenta lo que es el tiempo que tarda la nave objetivo, la nave en la que nos estamos enfrentando en hacer ese proceso de cambio. O sea, que va a tener un componente estratégico muy fuerte el cómo equipamos la nave y el según la nave que nos enfrentemos.
It can be very good to slow down from that speed, and that's another thing, that's going to be a critical choice. If you have to do that high speed, there's going to be a reason that you've done that. But there's going to be a consequence to it.
It's actually quite interesting because when we tested that first, the decelerations we got were up to 50, 60 Gs, something like that, right? So that's obviously nothing that you can survive easily, right? But we didn't see this effect because our GeForce tuning doesn't react to decelerations that are taking that short amount of time. So basically nothing happened. But what we actually want to achieve is when you do an unhealthy, if you flip the switch too fast and maybe even take into account that you might have eyes out Gs, right? Then this is supposed to knock you out, right?
Pero están diciendo una cosa interesante, es que dice que además a la hora de probar nos dimos cuenta de que si nosotros cambiábamos de modo viaje, del modo Quantum al modo estándar, que si lo hacíamos demasiado pronto podríamos producir los suficientes Gs como para poder desmayarnos, ¿no? Entonces, efectivamente, no es simplemente salgo de modo viaje y de repente pues activo el modo estándar y ya, sino que si hacemos eso nos vamos a desmayar de seguro.
I want to ask about...
O sea, me refiero, si vamos a la velocidad que da de máxima el modo viaje, pues nos vamos a desmayar seguro, ¿no?
We added the snake pit in the last patch. In 3.18, we've got 6 brand new community racetracks that are being added. We've got the new timers in the UI and the gateways. Folks who follow the public roadmap, shout out to Jake, know that there are changes and improvements to Arena Commander, especially the racing coming there. So there's a lot of new racing stuff coming in Star Citizen. Nav mode, let's ask a question. are we considering, or would we consider a third master mode specifically for racing? Something that would get us the speed and the maneuverability without any of the weapons, the shields, stuff like that? Because it doesn't seem like, I don't know if either one of these ones that we're talking about seem totally ideal for racing. But maybe that's just me, I don't know.
No, it's a good point. So, and it actually came up in, it actually came up from basically from one of our playtests, is what happens to racing, because the speeds that we were hitting for, the actual speeds of combat were probably just not enough to make racing feel exciting. So, and then it's actually had like a fundamental impact on the choices we've made with the design for master modes, is to make sure that racing works. So we've got boost now, which works outside of the actual combat mode. It might work a little bit differently, but we're going to have boost outside of the combat mode now, and that's come specifically from racing and the needs of racing. Because I say, we're building lots of different, worlds now where, racing's possible. We're actually doing, a lot more support for racing now to build it, officially within the game, because it's come from the community. They're the ones making all these interesting levels out the worlds that we build, and now we're going, right, we're going to start making this, as part of the actual game, so we have to support this. And one, part of this big process of master modes was the roles, and we want the racing ships to be, racing ships, so they're going to be very, they're going to go very quickly still. They're going to be light, they're going to be agile, but you're not really going to want to do combat. Even if they come with weapons, you're probably not going to really want to take them in combat, but they're going to but the balance for us is making sure they're quick enough to escape, but there's still that risk there in combat.
All right, so we might get some of what I'm talking about through components and tunings for racing-specific ships.
Yeah.
All right, and then the boost change that you were talking about. Okay.
There's a bit more to it though, right? Because like one of the things, so the SCM mode is supposed to be the high performance mode that you're in, but like racing doesn't work well when the velocities are too low. And there are actually like some sequences from the squadrons team as well, and where they want like racing like structures, right? So we are looking at this very deeply. The thing that might probably change, or what we're currently testing there, is whether or not the capacitor systems have a little bit of a different power output. So where you can, for example, regenerate your boost pool in SCM within, maybe 10 seconds or whatever, right? It will take considerably longer when you are in the nav mode, but it just like frees really like a lot of more potential to do fast racing. So you basically you select, do you want to go fast and have like, take care of your boost pool, or do you want to like risk going into the slower speed, but then get rewarded with a higher boost regeneration? It will be along these lines. This is currently in testing. This is actually.
Están diciendo de que a la hora de testear a nivel interno en el equipo, he visto como algunas personas de CIE estaban volando entre estructuras y estaban echándole un vistazo a la posibilidad de que a la hora de lo que es las naves de carreras, por el tema de los modos de vuelo, los dos modos de vuelo, que el modo estándar no era lo suficiente, no se alcanzaba las suficientes velocidades como para hacer el rol interesante. Entonces, ahí están pensando en dos soluciones. Primero, una de las soluciones que han puesto es, aparte de la personalización de los componentes, pues que mediante los componentes de carreras pues no sean nada buenos para combatir, pero tendrán ese rendimiento como relacionado con el boost, para mejorar lo que es el boost y demás. Aparte de esto, han hablado de la posibilidad de en modo viaje tener boost, pero al mismo tiempo pues regenerarlo menos, o en el caso de los condensadores que tengan las naves, pues que lo que es la nave en sí pueda... las naves de carreras tengan una regeneración más elevada de boost. Que están estudiando eso en el sentido de, si nosotros vamos en modo viaje, tener regeneración de boost pero menor que si vamos en standard mode, con la velocidad de escapadas, que sabemos que con la velocidad de escapadas con el boost podemos exceder lo que son las velocidades, y a partir de ahí pues que las líneas van buscando ese tipo de equilibrio, a ver qué sacan por ahí, pero que definitivamente están prestando atención para dar apoyo a lo que es pues estas actividades que estamos haciendo la comunidad de carreras en general.
You think is going to happen because of combat modes. But we've been doing a lot of testing to make sure that we don't just fulfill our own prophecy of going, right, we'll fix this. So the testing has also been, kind of outside of our little remit a little bit, which is we don't just want to reinforce our own ideas. We've play tested this on the basis that what a player's feeling, when they actually, play master modes. So that's been a big focus of ours. And I think it's going to be difficult to answer a lot of the questions until we start showing it working and we actually show the results. Because that's what we're really excited about, is we're excited about the results from this. And what we've seen internally has been really positive. Things are much closer, and the difference which we want in the systems, both in terms of the components and the weapons on the ship, and the style of ship you have, are making much more of a difference in those in those key moments. But that's just something that we're just going to have to prove out.
No, I can already see the response to what you just said is, well, then put it into the PU and let us see it, and let us experiment. But it's going to stay in Squadron 42 for a while, so it can do all the internal testing, so that it can be very focused. We talked about it in the DCC thing, so you can focus on these specific ships and get these done before you have to expand it to all of the ships of the PU.
Yeah, and that's the big thing for us, is that this is a lot of work. So releasing the PU, it's a massive feature for us because it changes almost every single component in the game. It changes every single ship in the game as well, from both a ship performance perspective, so to make sure that ship is within its performance window, but also its health as well, and just how it behaves in the game. We've got way over 100 ships now you can fly in the game. And that takes a lot of testing and a lot of tuning to do. So, and also we've got a lot of multiplayer testing to do. We've got to make sure it looks correct so the players understand the master modes on the UI. So there's a lot of work to bring this feature together. But,
Bueno, lamentablemente nos está comentando de que los Master Modes van a estar por un tiempo en el PU, que tienen que mirar que cada nave pues coincida con la ventana a la que corresponde de lo que es el comportamiento del modo estándar y el modo viaje, los Master Modes. Aparte de esto, que es algo que cambia todos los componentes, el comportamiento de todos los componentes también, que hay 100 y pico naves en el juego, más de 100 y pico naves en el juego, y que es muchísimo trabajo que hacer para poder ajustarlo todo.
Point, right? There are also heavy downstream dependencies, because right now most of the master mode UI, for example, is beautiful coder art, and if you ever saw coder art, it's not, well, it's very simplistic, right? And it doesn't.
It's wonderful, Yogi.
It doesn't respect.
Your artwork's amazing.
It does respect the aesthetics that certain other people in the company would like to see. So if we could, it's functionally working, right? It's but it wouldn't be fun at the moment in the PU, because A, we only have tuned a couple of ships for it, and B, most of the UI or of the nice UI is missing. So and there's a couple of other things in the PU as well which don't add up yet. Well, because for example, travel distances, we likely would need to travel or tune them slightly different for squadrons versus a PU. Because in the PU you're gonna visit, you're gonna freely jump from planets to planets. That's not strictly always given in the frame that Squadrons gives you, right? So it will be a while until players can see it. But when we're ready, we're not throwing it probably right in. We will try to test within the Evocati groups and so on to get feedback whether or not it's working in the PU, and then do adjustments before we release it to the wider public.
All right. So it'll be a while before it comes to the PU. We're just about out of time. We're going to let you go and move on to the next half of the show. But before we do, any last things you want to leave the Star Citizen community with? Any last words you want to say? Last niblets they can hang on to while they wait?
We're really excited for the players to get out. I do understand the frustration.
Está comentando de que va a pasar un tiempo realmente, nuevamente, para que podamos ver esto. Lo típico, pues Evocati, luego una vez que nos sentamos, que veamos que está bien, pues lo mandaremos para Evocati, y después de Evocati pues para un público más amplio. Están diciendo obviamente que el mensaje para la comunidad y que están muy entusiasmados con esto.
And also thanks for the support. We do read a lot of the feedback, and we do watch a lot of the videos, and not just the streamers, but we watch a lot of videos that people just share in the game as well, that players are having a great time, so we do spend a lot of time watching that stuff.
I'm sorry, one last question. I asked you this during the filming. We've been several months on. I asked you the simplest question, like, do we finally have it? Do we really have it? Is this really it? I'm going to ask you again, has your answer changed? Is this it?
This is it. This is everything.
All right. All right, so...
Vale, está preguntando es cuando realmente lo tenemos, realmente hemos solventado el problema, es esto, y dice, sí, dices, esto es todo. Esto es lo necesario, lo que hace falta.
Seen in a while. Stay tuned.
Sorcerer of death's construction.
I'm hit.
No senator's hit. Going down. Right now. Mayday. As the war machine keeps turning. Death and hatred to mankind.
We're going down.
Jump on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark.
And we're back. I just heard a piece of information during the break that I wasn't prepared for. Joining us on the show right now is someone who perhaps needs no introduction, but we're going to do it anyway. One of the original founders of Cloud Imperium Games way back when. Sandi Roberts. Sandi,
¡Ostras!
welcome.
Thank you.
It's been so long.
I'll give you an e-hug.
Welcome back to the spaceship.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm happy that I can actually be on it this time. Last time you were shooing me off, saying, go away, no spoilers.
So the last time she shows up, we were still under construction. And if you follow Sandi on Twitter or other social medias, she's got a rather prolific presence there, and she starts taking pictures, and I'm just like.
I know.
Please,
Like, no.
please.
No pictures.
Not before Citizen Con, not before Citizen Con.
You know.
And she was like, fine, but I have to come back.
Yes. So now I'm back.
Now
You
you're back.
invited me back. Thank you very much.
So what are you doing here? I mean, normally you're based out of the LA studio. That's where we worked together for so many years.
We did.
But you're known to travel a lot in your position.
I am. I travel a lot. And Chris is here all the time. So therefore.
So what brings you here now?
What brings me here now? Well, what day is it today? It's whatever day it is.
Yeah.
Yes. The other day we were we were at the Frankfurt Christmas party.
Okay.
And I got to see the new offices, which are really nice, really nice. They did a really good job.
I haven't seen him yet.
I don't know a lot of people, so
There are a lot of new faces.
there are a lot of new faces.
You know, we talk about this, how the company has grown to like 800 plus folks, and it's impossible to keep up with all of the new faces. I come in and
Está comentando Discolando que qué haces por aquí. Nada, he venido a visitar los nuevos estudios, dice Sandi, que es la mujer de Chris Roberts, ¿no? Que entre los dos pues decidieron embarcarse en esta empresa. Y está comentando de que hay muchas caras nuevas. Desde que empezaron, comenta Discolando de que hay 800 caras nuevas, que es imposible mantenerse al día con todas las caras nuevas que hay.
Yes, we flew to Berlin, which was fantastic.
I think you loaded Tom up with a picture before. Do we have a picture of the Bar Citizen in Berlin? Oh wow, that's a big one.
It was a big one. We had we capped it at just over 100 people, so that we were able to talk to everybody.
Okay, all right.
He shook everybody's hand. I waved, but he shook everyone's hand. And then we sat at each table. We did a Q&A. We signed lots of stuff, took lots of pictures. It was really good fun.
For those who may not be familiar, Bar Citizens are a wonderful initiative started by our own community to basically gather and break bread and tell tales with other Star Citizens. And then because we'd like, hey, that's pretty cool, you know, if they're local to an office, we would crash over the years. Recently this year, we started the Bar Citizen World Tour. Where we would send CIG staff and developers to all manner of places, cities, states, provinces, different countries around the world, on different continents. You've been to a few of those. How's that been? The Bar Citizen World Tour.
I have. Well, this was actually the first one I've been to in a while.
Okay.
The original one, I don't know if you went to the original one, but it was created by myself and Alexis and Ben, and that was in 2013, I believe, in Santa Monica.
No, I was not at that one.
And that was good fun, and that took off. We did Food Citizen. You came to that one.
That was there.
And
Food Citizen.
that was a failure.
Sometimes we try things.
Yeah.
Sometimes we try
And
things.
they don't work. And but I haven't been to a bar city. Well, actually, I went to the one in Los Angeles. It was
That's
sort
right.
of in the summer.
Yeah, so I was going to say, I knew this hadn't been the first one you were at in the first while. So.
Yes. So that was the
Está comentando de que han estado en el Bar Citizen de Berlín y de que hacía tiempo que no veía y que, bueno, que en 2013 hizo con Ben Lesnick y otra persona más, que no me acuerdo ahora, pues hizo también el primer bar, se supone, en 2013, aunque es una iniciativa que ha sido continuada por la comunidad. Y bueno, de hecho, pues ya visteis que celebramos el Bar Citizen en Madrid también.
I heard that there's a photo of Brian actually smiling.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing, but we were posing, and I guess posing for the camera, and I guess Brian wasn't smiling.
No,
and so
Brian
Chris
is
was like,
king
Chris
of
was
the
like,
stoic.
smile. So.
And you sent that to Tom too. Tom, do we have that? I haven't seen this yet. A smiling Brian Chambers. Wow.
Yes, well, Aaron.
Están haciendo coña de Brian Chambers porque está sonriendo, porque parece ser que no es fácil sacar una sonrisa al hombre.
Aaron had been outside.
En una foto que sacaron.
Fine. So he was quite happily smiling, but And then somebody told me that the secret to drinking Glühwein is to eat the almonds. Then you don't get like a furry throat. So I don't know, that was a pro tip. It may or may not work. I didn't try it, but...
Anybody who chooses to take that advice and whether it works or not, we indemnify Cloud Imperium Games, Rubber Space Industries,
Yeah,
and its
exactly. We
subsidiaries.
take no responsibility
do not recommend
for-
that you
Yeah.
attempt such a thing,
Yeah.
but maybe it works.
Yeah.
All right, so on your way here, you passed through Frankfurt, you passed through Berlin.
Yes.
Now you're here, though.
Now I am here.
So what brings you here?
What brings me here, again, is the new offices and also a board meeting. I'm on the board.
Okay.
So
That's that big quarterly gathering where I see all the important
Yes.
people come
Yes.
by and they're just like, Jared,
Yes.
stay in the other room. And I'm like, okay,
Yes.
I'll stay away.
Yes.
Don't scare the board members.
yeah, of course, my daughters joke that it's called board for a reason. But so that's why I'm here.
So that's the big quarterly thing that happens.
Me dice que ha venido a Manchester, a la oficina de Manchester, a ver las oficinas y también a hacer una reunión de la junta directiva de Cloud Imperium Games.
We haven't really shown any of this yet because we want to wait till it's totally dialed in and everything, and all the amazing wall art is up and everything. But because you've been and I haven't, give me your impression of the Frankfurt office. What is it real? Is it really? I've seen photos of these weird pod things that you can sit in.
They look weird, but they're not weird. I sat in one, and they're like soundproofed little, very comfortable meeting rooms. And you can sit with somebody and take a meeting. I went into the meditation room and took a nap. They have these sort of banana boat cushions, but you can also do other. It's relaxation.
Me dice de que cuál es tu opinión sobre las oficinas de Frankfurt. Dice que tiene como una especie de pods ahí que están como insonorizados y tal, en lo que le puedes reunirte allí. Y aparte que también estuvo en la zona de meditación, tienen como una sala de meditación, que tienen como una especie de sofás, sillones tipo con forma de banana y tal.
You built it?
Well, no, Benoit built it. I stood
he
around and
actually
made
built
snide
it?
comments while he built it. But
Oh, well, that was impressive because I feel like I just saw him in Frankfurt.
yeah, he did it in a day.
He did it in
yeah.
a day?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
he's Benoit.
Yeah.
Well, he can do
Yeah, of
anything.
course, of course. I saw the guys having a try. I wasn't too game to have a try. There was so much going on. But
I was just always afraid I was going to kick the pieces and lose them. So we have you here. I know we've been catching up and stuff like this, but it is our 10th anniversary this year. I'm a sucker for the history and stuff. When folks have a question here about something from yay old days, they usually come to me and ask, because I've been here for as long as I have now. You're one of the few people that have more tribal knowledge than I do. We're back. I want to ask you about that first day, because this is a conversation we've never had before.
The first day.
The first day.
Claro, dice,
October 10th.
Está diciendo el 10 de octubre en 2012, quiero que me digas qué fue del primer día, porque es de las pocas personas que tienes más recorrido en la empresa que yo, dice Discolando.
Chris and Ortwin and like I said, a small handful, Haddock and stuff, have been working internally. It's all been a secret at this point. You had the contest thing, but it's all been a secret, and this is the day you're finally going to unveil this to the world. What was that like? Tell me a story.
yeah, I mean, I was talking to John Erskine in Frankfurt at the Frankfurt Christmas party, and we were saying, when you're really doing it, when you're really in it, it's just so, you're just on high alert. It's like the lead up to the October 10th, there was so many balls to catch and plates and spinning in the air.
Que dice que el día ese, cuando te vas preparando, había muchas bolas en el aire que pillar, muchos platos que alcanzar, como muchas cosas que estabas en alerta máxima, ¿no?
I think, did I tell you Chris was singing, Chris is not a great singer, but he'd called me from Germany, spoiler alert.
I didn't say it.
He'd called me from Germany, and you know that song Big in Japan? That he was singing Big in Germany, badly, because all the journalists had brought old Wing Commander boxes and they were raving about the prototype, and he thought, well, maybe we have something, maybe it's going to be good, right? Because Sean Tracy, Hannah's, they all thought it was good, and I'd seen the prototype. I thought this is something, but you never know. And we'd set up the website, and I was doing everything at the time. I mean, everything.
Claro, está diciendo, dice, en aquel momento estaba haciendo de todo. Ella estaba haciendo de asistente personal, tema de publicidad, se encargaba de un montón de cosas. Y al final dice que cuando fueron a presentar y se reunió la prensa, que aparecieron con antiguas cajas de Wing Commander y pensaron que realmente que iba a ser algo bueno, que podría funcionar, ¿no? Que nunca se sabe, pero que pensaron que ese día podría funcionar Star Citizen.
Yeah, I just was like, oh my gosh. It was, in that moment, I thought, oh my gosh, it's over. It's so done.
You can laugh at it now,
I can
but
laugh at it
I imagine
now.
in it on day one.
It was horrifying. It was all that work, and then you're thinking, oh my gosh, and you're thinking people are going to go away and not come back because the world's so fast and fickle. But yeah, the first 20, and then it just sort of snowballed from there. It kept.
Claro, dice que viéndolo desde perspectiva desde ahora, que podemos reírnos de ese día, pero que realmente fue un curro increíble y que todo empezó a hacerse bola de nieve desde entonces, ¿no?
Oh, I mean, we now, of course, we've talked about how the company, mentioned the company has blown up to 5 studios around the world, 800, 800 plus employees. I know I think I had a number here about how many Star Citizens we have, but there was over 36 million hours played in 2022 alone. Not over our lifetime, 36 million hours played in just this calendar year, the one that we're still not done with. And it averages to something like, between the players and the things, it's an average of 3 hours of playtime.
A day?
Yeah.
Wow.
Is it a day?
Yeah, and we're at 44 million now.
We're at 44 million. Oh, okay. Yep.
Come on, Jared,
There's
get
the
on
update.
it.
There's literally, I was reading the old message, and they're like, no, it's changed. So 3 hours a day, at 44 million hours played this year so far. So yeah,
Wow.
it's not bad for a game that is vaporware.
Claro, dice que de media ahora mismo en el Star Citizen, los jugadores de Star Citizen juegan 3 horas al día de media por este año. Hombre, yo creo que levanto la media bastante, ¿no? Pero
Yeah, I play with the girls. I'm not that great. They're so good.
I'm terrible.
I do all the dumb things, and then, Mom, you don't do that. You got to take your helmet off before you eat a hot dog. Mom, you gotta. I mean, they're just, of course.
One of the dirty secrets we don't talk about is that very rarely are the people who make a game really good at the game that they make. I think there's this weird expectation that if you're involved in the creation of a game, that you must be this excellent player at it. But I've seen more people. I'm not talking about Star Citizen specifically. I'm talking about any of the places I work, Blizzard, whatever. It's you spend all this time making it, and then you actually sit down and try to play it, and it's like they're different aptitudes. They're dramatically different aptitudes. So. Yeah, I was hopeful. When I got into that sim rig that Benoit built, I completed my first race at New Horizons Speedway ever.
Impressive. Look at you.
Not really impressive. That's just bad.
I guess it depends how you did it too.
So yeah, so we were also so. What would you? I think we referred to you as. What would you call yourself? You're there. You're part of the OG group. We were having this conversation off by.
Yes.
Is this original gangster?
OG.
What did you call? You
I called it the old guard.
The old guard.
Yeah.
The original guard.
Yeah.
dice que el grupo le llama la vieja guardia, ¿no? Al grupo original que creó el proyecto.
I mean, world record, right off the bat.
Oh,
not too shabby. Not too
too.
shabby for a team of only a handful of people back then.
Yes, there was. I mean, it was just so busy. I used to answer customer service tickets too.
I remember.
Yeah, I was talking to Tyler about that in the live stream. I gave people my personal email on Thanksgiving and got 2,500 tickets.
Definitely the worst leak any of us here in this building have ever been a part of.
Claro, dice que le dio su email personal a la gente por el Día de Acción de Gracias y consiguió 2.500 tickets de atención al cliente, porque también solía responder tickets de atención al cliente ella.
On a budget, because we really didn't spend marketing. It was a lot of community and a lot of just putting it together.
Excuse for Ben to watch the Wing Commander movie.
Yeah. So there was nobody there. Like, we didn't have our own venue. We were sharing it with some finance guys who were like, "Whoa, what's Star Citizen?" And of course, we had some backers there. And
So the
and
first
some
Citizen
staff
is half video game players and
Yeah.
half accountants.
Yeah, it was an interesting party. So yeah, the first one, and then we had a couple in. Where do we have the other ones? Oh, the Manchester one with the Concorde plane.
Yeah. Oh, the
Yeah.
Concorde plane
Oh, yeah.
that. Oh my gosh! So that was not my first one, but first one when I was inside, and I'm there. I'm monitoring a chat. Remember chat roll? Who remember anybody?
Yes,
Chat roll?
I remember chat roll.
roll and watching people go crazy. They built an enormous spaceship above the set, and I'm like, that's the Concorde. But
Yeah.
it was already there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Citizen Con obviously started very small.
Parece que en una de las reuniones que hicieron en Manchester que la gente pensó, han construido una nave enorme y dice, ese es el Concorde, ya estaba ahí. Que parece ser que lo celebraron al lado del Concorde o una cosa así.
Here in Manchester, like this. I'm just going to do it. So that was our last one that we've done live. That was 2019. Obviously, we didn't have one in 2020. It was the pandemic. We had originally had one scheduled that year for Los Angeles, but the city shut down. In 2021 and 2022, we had virtual events. Internally, we call it Digital Citizen, which is why I said DCC twice in the thing, in case people are like, what is he talking about, DCC? It was an internal term, I'm sorry.
Acronyms.
It's not one that you're meant to hear, but I said it twice, and we'll figure out how to explain it. It's been 4 years, since, by
it
next
will
year.
be next
By
year,
next year, it will have been 4 years since we had a live event. Is there anything you can tell us, any sunshine, any hope, any sliver?
You're like setting me up for it.
Well, I figure they can't get mad at me if you say something.
If I say something.
You say something.
If I say something, well, there is something happening in my hometown. Not hometown. I mean, where do I live really? But Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
Yes, we are going to go back into a physical Citizen Con. Yes.
Physical Citizen Con en Los Ángeles, chavales. Me voy a Los Ángeles, chavales. Me voy a Los Ángeles. En octubre.
I don't know when in October.
Pero no se sabe cuándo en octubre.
A physical Citizen Con in Los Angeles in 2023 in October. Yes. All willing, and that the world doesn't explode or Los Angeles decides to do something really weird. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna do some space dad here for this. So, hi everybody. You just heard that CitizenCon 2023 has been confirmed for Los Angeles in October of 2023. There are probably going to be some of you who want to rush out and buy plane tickets and book hotels and such like this. I'm going to ask that you hold on, that you remain calm and stuff like this. We don't know if this is going to be the beginning of October, the end of October. Remember, the last physical CitizenCon we had was in November. These things are not entirely within our control. There's the venue and what venues are available.
Dice, no os volváis locos si no pilléis, no programéis ya el viaje ni nada, porque no sabemos cuándo va a ser exactamente la CitizenCon. Acordaros de que la última CitizenCon que tuvimos fue en noviembre.
For October, but if it ends up being November 3rd or it ends up being...
que estamos apuntando para octubre, pero no calentarse.
Encourage you to please hang tight, don't book any plane tickets, unless you want to spend a month and a half in LA, which I can recommend. You go to Disney World, you can go to Universal, there's lots of things to do, but hang tight. This is more than I expected to get today. So yeah, that's exciting though.
Well, we are doing Bar Citizens again, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that the World Tour is kicking off again in January. That too. Is that a spoiler alert? Am I just
throw it on out there. Okay, so the Bar Citizen World Tour 2022, as we've been calling it, is going to continue next year.
I think so. I heard a rumor that the one that Chris and I went to was the last one for 2022, but we're kicking off in January the 2023 tour.
All right, so we're kicking off our Citizen World Tour 2023.
Yes. And Chris and I, we'll try to make it to a couple here and there. I'm not sure which ones, but.
All right. I'm a space dad again.
Okay, yeah,
remember,
don't go booking
okay,
every single.
Exactly. So, the way the Bar Citizen World Tour works, you guys decide where to have them. You can go to barcitizen.sc. You can announce your Bar Citizen. You can coordinate your own, and be sure you let us know. Tag us on social media, submit tickets, whatever your communication method of choice is. But remember that while we would love to attend each and every one, that simply is not a logistical possibility. So let us know. Try to give us as much time and notice as possible. Don't be like...
Vale, para organizar los bares que van a seguir haciendo Bar Citizen a partir del año que viene.
Give us as much time as possible, and remember to work with your venues. Remember to let the venues know when you're playing them and everything, so that everything is nice and copacetic and everything, so that when we fly people over, everything works and everything is awesome. But yeah, Bar Citizen World Tour 2023. I hope. Can I go to? Well, I only went to like one this year. Can I go to more? I can go to more.
Oh, Jared, you're going to be at some Bar Citizens. Be careful what you ask for.
I want to go to.
Oh, wait, are you really wanting to say this on camera? Oh, Italy.
I want to go. I've never been to Italy.
Ooh, okay.
I'm Italian, somewhere. My grandmother was Italian. I've just never been. So, just if anybody's out there doing that, go ahead. Let us know.
Italian community.
Yeah, so...
Dices cuando que quiere visitar Italia.
Oh my God, is there... I mean... Yeah, I'm gonna do a close.
Por el Bar Citizen.
I feel like the last words should come from you, so Prep. You think about what you want to say to the community here in a minute. For folks watching at home, thank you for joining us on this week's Star Citizen Live. It was great to have Rich and Yogi on, be able to reschedule their previously canceled show because I got plague and whatnot, but it was great to have them back. And then, of course, Sandi here, beginning to share memories from day one of Star Citizen back in 2012. Remember, if you haven't, check out yesterday's Inside Star Citizen. It was a continuation of the Journey to 4.0 initiative that we began at this year's CitizenCon. These presentations will continue throughout the next year, as the Journey to 4.0 is one that's long and fruitful and is bound to be filled with twists and turns, so we'll continue to have presentations and showcase future developments for the 4.x branch throughout next year in place of some ISC episodes. And then come on back next week for our annual Inside Star Citizen Year in Review 2022, where we look back at everything not everything, but most of the big highlights of the Star Citizens year and a look at what's coming in the upcoming 318. So for Rich and Yogi, I'm Jared, and I'm going to, we got you here, old school. I'm going to throw the last words to Sandi Gardner. Sandi,
yes.
Take us home. This is your, I'm right here.
I do want to thank the community for their support over the past decade. It has been awesome, and it's been an incredible journey, and it still is an incredible journey. And the staff, a lot of our fans have become staff, like Jared. And going to the Bar Citizen, the passion, and seeing Chris speak to everybody, and I'm terrible. I'm going to start crying again. It's the worst. I'm the worst. It's incredible. I am so proud. Oh, it's terrible. We've got to cut this. We can't.
Va a llorar la chorba. Dice que va a llorar porque se está emocionando.
Oh my gosh, it's awful. So thank you so much for the support, and we will see you around the verse.
We have to practice that. That was so good.
Qué grande, joder.
Oh my God, that was terrible.
Dice que han sido 10 años espectaculares y tal, y que dice we will see you around the verse, que eso eran pues los antiguos episodios que se hacían, que aparecían Chris y Sandi, y siempre decían we will see you around the verse. Qué grande. La semana que viene, bueno, estaba agradeciendo a la comunidad todo el apoyo, que era tremendo, que era increíble y que se le saltaban las lágrimas, que de hecho estaba llorando. Y aparte de eso, bueno, la verdad que tiene que ser impresionante el embarcarse en la aventura que se embarcaron ella y el marido, y, o sea, Chris Roberts y Sandi Roberts ahora, es impresionante. O sea, la verdad que... o sea, dentro de lo que yo creo que partían de una buena posición, o sea, de una economía saneada, hay que echarle pelotas, ¿eh? Para hacer lo que han hecho hay que echarle pelotas. Buenas, Rugged Ball.